somebody said that sailors are getting out of boot camp and they don't know what the Navy core values are. It was responded to by somebody, and somebody said something that I didn't personally agree with. Honestly, it was along the lines of, well, they take in so much information at boot camp that we can't necessarily expect them to know the core values. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. With all due respect to the person who answered, I got no disrespect for the person. I just don't agree with that sentiment. I think if you leave boot camp, if you don't know anything else, you should know the Navy core values. But what's your thoughts on that? Should sailors know Navy core values leaving boot camp?
I'm going to jump right in on this grenade real quick. It is the core values, right? It's just that. If you don't, like you said, Dumbo, if you don't know anything else, we are talking about what we represent, right? In the Navy, not just the Navy. Anything you do, whatever those values are, that's the shit you most definitely should remember, right? I don't care what job it is. Damn near every business, every whatever, they got values. It's probably going to be good to know those values. So I don't care what kind of overload you got, brain overload or whatever. If you're going to remember something, it most definitely should be the core values, right? And we went to boot camp too. So we went to boot camp. We went through a lot of the same shit that's going on right now in boot camp. It's a little bit different, of course, but most of the same shit. I remember the core values. People remember the core values. If you don't know them, you choose not to know them. You choose not to know them. You didn't listen or you didn't want to know. That's a shift in individual stuff, I think, right? Because I know they still putting that stuff out. So you chose not to know the core values if you don't know them. I'm most definitely everyone should know the core values.
I agree. And I feel like, there is a lot of information that's given out in boot camp, and you probably are going to data dump a lot of that stuff. I know I did. But honor, courage, and commitment was something that was so instilled because it's supposed to become part of who you are. You can't data dump that if it's emphasized so much. I remember them tying it into everything. If I heard honor, courage, and commitment one more time, I was just like, they just keep preaching this whole thing. So you marching around with cadence that got honor, courage, and commitment in it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how are we getting away from, is that really important? Like, of course it is. Yeah. Of course, like that's who we are. There is a mental shift that's supposed to happen in boot camp. That's the purpose of it. Shifting your mindset from being a civilian to military. Yeah. So that's part of that shift. And that's a lifelong shift because I still have a hard time de-shifting. I remember seeing this diagram where it was like your values and then the Navy's values and how they sometimes conflict or whatever. You remember that diagram they did back when they were, it was like a training or something. How is that not part of what we talk about?
Permission to speak freely.